welcome to Limerick Voice TV. The headlines this evening. UL investigate reported rise in racist incidents. Small businesses adapt to survive COVID restrictions. How one school beat flooding, frost and COVID to reopen. And one swimmer's big return. Investigations are underway after a number of racist incidents on and around campus are reported.
As the University of Limerick community marked Equality Week, the celebration of difference and diversity did not seem to be reflected on campus grounds. International students studying at the university told Limerick Voice TV about various forms of racism they have experienced while on campus.
One of our Algerian cohort, she is a veiled girl. She has actually experienced this kind of racism, and it was like something which is not good for us as a Muslim or as a veiled girl to be taken off of her veil.
Cathal said the incident had sparked fear amongst the international students community.
It may happen to any of us, during our daily life here. One of us may face the same situation, and I hope that it will never be for one of us.
Reem, an Algerian student, did not expect to experience as much racism as she has so far in Ireland.
For me, honestly, I didn't expect that it would be this much racism, whether on campus or off campus. But one of the girls, young girls, I think about 14 or 15 years old, they took off her veil outside. Yeah, they did this.
According to Mairead Moriarty, UL has opened up a platform for international students to report any racist incidents encountered.
The president of our university and the provost, Professor Nige Healy, both feel very strongly. Professor Healy met with some of the students last week to offer his support to them. So even at the top of the institution, this is not okay. And we really regret the fact that it has happened.
Leon Ye, a Chinese student at the university, said racist behaviors has affected him negatively.
I was affecting a lot, I used a lot of time to judge myself. Maybe I don't know how to describe it, but
your self-confidence.
Yeah. I need to rebuild myself.
According to the Irish Network, 2020 saw a 25% increase in racial incidents. As we celebrate equality and different cultures in our country, the question now to you all is, how do they put your talks of safe campus into practice?
Now, although many things have changed since the pandemic began, one thing that hasn't is the support of local business. Limerick's milk market manager, David Fitzgerald, assures locals that the market is still going strong. Harriet Heffernan and Chloe O'Keefe report.
Limerick's famous milk market has seen many changes in its almost 200-year history. A year of COVID restrictions have thrown up a host of new challenges, and management here say they are struggling to keep up.
We had a period of about 3 weeks from the 7th to the 21st of March 2020 where we operated after a revised layout of less stalls, more distancing, markers and things on the ground, sanitisers on the entrance, and for first that I'm ever aware of, having a security presence on the entrance and exit with a one-way system. When you're talking about crafts and clothing, they were probably the most adverse hit in terms of traders here because they've had a series of lockdowns.
Nearby, Restory opened up in December last year. Owner Fionn says he has had to find new ways of doing business to stay afloat.
I've some jams for sale by Teresa, who was a stall trade. She was a stall holder here in the market, but they had to take out a lot of stalls, unfortunately. So I've given her a bit of retail space, and along with other artists and creatives and craftspeople, new and established. And then I make some stuff myself as well.
Plenty of plot twists and creative responses then here in Limerick, but for these crafty traders, it seems COVID won't be the end of the story.
Both primary and secondary schools have begun reopening nationwide. Among them was Rathpeacon National School. However, unlike most, the Cork school is facing other challenges, including collapsed ceilings and severe damages. Cian Dalton has the details.
As well as making sure that the school was up to date on COVID safety measures before reopening, Rathpeacon National School also suffered serious damage during lockdown. A burst water pipe during a bad spell of weather in January caused 3 collapsed ceilings and severe flooding throughout the corridors and classrooms. School caretaker Conor Sullivan was first on the scene.
A quick walk around, I soon found myself walking in water along the corridors just out here. Ceilings had come down in 3 classrooms. A number of pipes had burst in the attics due to frost, and we had damage on both wings of the school, in the classrooms on this side of the hall and again on this side of the hall.
The Department of Education stepped in and appointed contractors and project managers to begin the renovations, including insulation of the ceilings, rewiring and recabling all over the school, and the introduction of interactive blackboards for all classes. Principal Susanna O'Neill told me about the challenges in getting enough work done in time for the reopening.
So it was quite a challenge to get the school up and running again in time for reopening, and as the work continued we could only do so much as the different closures allowed.
Back to school for the first time since Christmas, not everybody is delighted to resume their education.
Are you happy to be back at school?
No.
Well, whether they are happy to be back or not, it is good to hear a bit of life back in the community again. This is Cian Dalton, Limerick Voice TV.
That's all for today's news. Now over to the sports desk with Aoife O'Callaghan.
Thank you, Reem, and welcome to the wonderful UL Sports Arena. First, in soccer, football returns to the Midwest for the first time in a year-long absence, as Treaty United take on Bray Wanderers in the League of Ireland First Division this Sunday. Aidan Corbett has more.
It's been a dark time for men's domestic football in Limerick, but with the emergence of Treaty United, brighter days lie ahead. Markets Field will once again host League of Ireland football.
We've been literally blown over by the level of good wishes, support, which has turned itself into tangible support, which is critically important for the financial management of the club. And as I said, we all have to have some sense of where we want to be, is that we in the Midwest will be producing senior footballers, and that we'll have our own gene pool to actually draw from in the years to come and give them the opportunity to play at the professional level. So, as I said, that might be naive, but then nonetheless, that's the dream.
An uphill battle awaits the newly assembled squad, but the club are optimistic ahead of the 2021 season.
Most of the lads that have signed have experience at League of Ireland, even underage or, at senior level in some part. I don't think there's too many with absolute zero experience. We're not going to set any goals as such. We take it game by game and see where that takes us, because it's a very strong league this year. As we know, there's a lot of professional teams in it. There's 3 or 4 full-time professional teams, which is very unusual for the First Division.
Despite their absence in 2020, there is light at the end of the tunnel for football in the Midwest. Aidan Corbett, Limerick Voice TV, Limerick.
And next, to swimming. Olympic hopeful Killian Melly tells us how he went from catastrophic injury to Olympic trials. Horkan reports.
After UL Sports Scholarship swimmer Killian Melly suffered a severe back injury in 2015, he thought his Olympic dreams had been washed away.
I was a bit unlucky. I was on a surfboard and basically nosedived the surfboard, dug into a sandbank, and then obviously just because of that, coming to a dead stop, catapulted me forward off it. Couldn't get my hands up in time, so the first thing that hit that sandbank was my head, and then the wave just carried my body over my head and my neck. I broke C6, C7, so my 2 vertebrae just here at the top of your neck. So what happened was those 2 vertebrae broke, my disc in between them slipped forward, and just the broken vertebrae then for the next 3 weeks grinded up that disc and just kind of made mince of it.
The Mayo man has worked tirelessly to get himself back to Olympic standard.
Yeah, like it's extremely exciting. We're not many weeks out now. I mean, I probably have one recovery week next week and then straight into taper for about 3 weeks. So it's just kind of refining the little things. I'd say I am nervous, but I think nerves are a good thing. You know, I think if you're not nervous, something's wrong. Nerves just kind of fuel you. That's the kind of adrenaline that you need going into racing.
Melly's miraculous comeback continues as he looks to book his seat on the flight to the Tokyo Games. Owen Horkan, Limerick Voice TV.
And finally, University of Limerick's international students enlighten us on how they've been keeping active through yet another level 5 lockdown. Zhang has more.
When the pandemic curtailed traditional gym hours, the physical health of students living on campus has become an issue of concern. So I took to the University of Limerick campus to find out what kind of sports these students engaged during the pandemic.
So before the lockdown, I used to, go and play football with my friends. I'm a big Arsenal fan, so, after watching the game on Saturdays or Sundays, whenever it's played, would then go and play some football in the park. So, it's very different now. So this is how I work out really. It's just make some space in the lounge and turn the laptop on, and 30 to 45 minutes a day, just doing HIIT exercises or press ups. So just making sure everything is covered, like the cardio, the strength and conditioning.
COVID-19 has led many people staying at home with much less social life and exercise. And I think this can have a negative impact on our physical and mental health. So I think running is a good way to keep health during the lockdown. All we need to do is just enjoy the fresh air and get some good music.
The students have used their creativity to keep fit under the lockdown, but it is uncertain whether they will be able to resume regular physical activity. Zixin, Zhang, Limerick Voice TV.
Thank you, Aoife. To showcase our cruise international routes, we have decided to bring you the weather report from all around the world. First up, we have Beijing, China, where high temperatures are set to hit the Chinese capital with a maximum of 20 degrees. It's going to be a little bit breezy though, so there is no need for umbrellas. Halfway across the world to Abuja, Nigeria's capital, the temperatures are rising, where it's set to reach a maximum of 35 degrees with partly cloudy sky. Now to Washington, D.C. in the USA, where the temperature gets a bit colder. The highest temperature, however, still reaching 24 with a few clouds. And lastly, we head home to Limerick, where it's set to be windy with sunny spells. It's going to be a consistent 12-degree weather the entire day. Back to you, Reem.
Thanks, Maxim. And now a recap of today's headlines. UL investigate reported rise in racist incidents. Small businesses adapt to survive COVID restrictions. How one school beat flooding, frost and COVID to reopen. And in sport, the return of Treaty United. And that's all for this evening. From all of us here at Limerick Voice TV, thank you very much and have a wonderful evening.